Yeah. You already know what's going on, man. It is us, the Four Brothers podcast. If you haven't already, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Please.
Once again, thank y'all for getting us to 250. We greatly appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get to 500 so we can actually hit that hype button.
Come on, man.
All right. So, if you don't know, now you do know. My name is Malik, a.k.a. DJ ASAP Jubilant, and today's fun fact, did you know that the University of Southern California actually has the most Heisman Trophy winners in college football history? That number? 8.
Nice.
Nice.
I did not know that.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Fun facts with ASAP Jubilant. Thank you. And then to the left, we got...
It's your boy Adam, aka SS Drdo.
What it do? What's the word? It's Jacoby, aka your friendly neighborhood Snorlax, in the building yet again.
And last but not least, it's your boy TJ. I go by TJ with the shots.
All right. And so today's video, I actually had a homie, a really good friend of mine. Shout out to you for bringing this up. He says, and I'll quote, "We should talk about the law of equivalent exchange." And
Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, God.
Full Metal Alchemist.
What do you say? Hit it. But, so it says, speak on how y'all feel about the law of equivalent exchange and how real it is, because this person said they got a few goals that they want to obtain or they want to get, but it feels like the law of equivalent exchange might ask them to sacrifice something very important to them, like maybe their relationships with their family, relationships with their jobs, and all type of stuff. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I have been feeling the same, at least in my own personal life, just with trying to advance in my own career, trying to advance with this. Sometimes it feels like I need to cut something out, but I don't know what the what is. And it also, in my mind, it's like, damn, what is the opportunity cost, right? So, like, let's say I do give up one job to go with another. What could have happened if I would have stuck with this job as compared to another?
Right.
So that's kind of what I've been dealing with, especially just trying to advance in adulthood and all type of stuff, and just having to sacrifice all the time. It's like, what else happens in that sacrifice, and does the law of equivalent exchange really work? So that's just kind of my opinion so far.
Okay, well, one thing on the fact of equivalent exchange, in the real world, the exchange isn't always equivalent. So there's that internal struggle that someone could be dealing with, because just because you sacrifice one thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get back that same return. But at the same time with that, I had another question that kind of goes with that, because there is a fine line between needing and choosing to sacrifice.
Right.
Because is it really worth giving up what you say you want to give up for this other thing, because the grass is always greener on the other side?
That's real.
Yeah, sometimes it's only greener because it's fake, or it's getting watered a little more. You feel me?
Also true.
It isn't gold.
Come on now.
For sure.
That's a good question.
So, yeah, I think we should start. I think we should really just start with, I'm just going to kind of like answer the question. Not answer the question, but just give my own personal take of, I think it comes down to every individual, just because every individual is not willing to give up or sacrifice the same level. They're not able to have the same level or willingness to sacrifice something to gain something as another person may be. Whereas me and Adam could have the same goal, but in my situation, I feel like I would have to go without, I don't know, let's just say, for a basic example, I'd have to go give up not playing games for like 2 or 3 months. I'm personally fine with that, but Adam might be in a situation where it's just like, I don't know if that's something I'm willing to give up. So I think that already is kind of like the main, and not antithesis, but just like one of the main things of just like, understanding yourself as a person and just knowing like, hey, what are these goals that I'm trying to achieve? And if I'm trying to achieve certain goals by a certain time frame or a certain time period, what am I willing to give up or sacrifice? I think that's going to be one of the first things that you have to recognize within yourself, because it sounds good on paper. You're like, I'd be able to give up this, and this in order to gain this. But what happens when push comes to shove, and now it's just like, okay, now I really have to sit down and plan out, like, okay, damn, I'm looking at this, and it's like, damn, I thought I was going to have to give up this amount, but now it's actually looking like I had to give up twice as much as I expected. And now you got to sit with yourself and realize, am I able to do that? Am I willing to do that? And I feel like some people are, but I think it comes down to the person and their values and how they were raised, or brought up.
I was gonna say, not to mention, it isn't always a factor of you having to give up something, but more so, are you even willing to try? Because a lot of times people say, oh, I gotta give up this or I gotta give up that, when in reality, if you really wanted something and you were willing to put in that effort for it, you will make the sacrifice of having that free time, maybe. So like, say for example, oh, I gotta give up my family, or I can go do this, or you can take the extra step and take the, what's the word I want to use, take the initiative to still have your family and work extra hard to get that extra thing that you want. You don't necessarily have to give anything up, but you do have to focus in and lock in on what exactly you want to do, as opposed to fucking around, essentially.
Yeah.
Because there is a point in life where we all have to actually take that moment to lock down and say, okay, what do I want to do to advance my life, and what are the steps to do so? Because nothing in life is easy.
Nope.
Yeah. So, and it's crazy that you brought up the thing about time, is because I feel like time is the only currency that we don't get back, right? Which is the most valuable currency.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like no matter what, I feel like that is the equivalent exchange, because time is so brand, right? Like, no matter what you do, you're giving up time.
Yeah.
No matter what. Right now, we're giving up time that we could be doing with whatever. You feel me? So I still feel like in some way, shapes, or form, that is still equivalent exchange. Now, granted, I want to be doing this. I want to be here, but I'm still giving up time. I could be at work right now. I could be, studying. I could be trying to figure something out. So, like, I guess, I don't know if I want to ask the question of what is actually equivalent exchange, but do you all feel like that's actually part of the human experience?
I think it's definitely part of the human experience. I think, kind of like what y'all was saying too, you hit a point where you have to, one, take a step back and look at your reality and ask yourself, what is it that I'm currently doing, and what is it that I want to gain or achieve in my life or in my future? I feel like bringing time in the equation is very important, because like you said, you don't get time back. And when you're younger, you think you have nothing but time. And then, you look up, you're 25, you look up, you're 35, you look up, you're 45, and then you're like, oh shit,
Where
did the time go?
Yeah.
And then you start to ask yourself, what did I even do with the time that I had? And I think that all circles back to where your mindset is at, and asking yourself, like, were you taking the steps, or were you doing what you were supposed to do to get to what you really want? Do you even know what you want to do? I think, for personal sake, I've always struggled with the question of, my dad would be like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? To be honest, I never really liked that question. It's a great question to ask, but it was always challenging for me, because I never really thought that far ahead of, like, all right, where do I see myself at 40, 45? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes some people, and I could tend to do this, I think either short term or in the now. I could think about where I'm at in 2 years probably, but I couldn't tell you where I'm at 40. I couldn't tell you where I want to be at 50. I know where I don't want to be at, but I couldn't tell you where I would want to fully be at. Where some people can dream big, and I think getting down, I want to get y'all thoughts on this too, like with the equivalent of exchange, or just being able to sacrifice what you want. How do you separate, like, the dreams and the fantasies versus the reality of what you're facing? Because I think that's a hard thing that people deal with on a day-to-day basis, because people got big dreams and want to do stuff, but their circumstances and where they're at currently may not match what they want to be at. Maybe not at this moment, but depending on how they're moving in time, they could possibly get to that point.
Yeah.
Because what they say, sometimes you have to be delusional to get the things that you want. But at the same time, you don't want to be a dummy, like, let me quit my whole life to try to apply for Streamer U. And that's nothing against people going to Streamer U. It's just people literally just, oh, I'm going to quit everything I'm doing for this, and didn't even get in. And now they're like, I don't know what to do with myself. And it's like, did you have a plan B? Did you have a plan C? Do you even like creating content? Like, you know what I'm saying? It don't have to be about content, but that's just an example I'm going at.
And I think it goes back to what I said with, are you actually trying? Because it's one of those things to where everybody says they want to do something, but are you actually actively taking the time and effort and putting in the work to do so? Everybody want to be a rapper, but are you sitting in that studio? Are you sitting there on the computer fixing every little piece of vocal? No, you're not. You're letting the engineer do it. You're letting this other person do it. So when you see someone come up out of nowhere, they more than likely put in enough time to where they can actually figure out something that breaks them out of the matrix per se.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of goes with everyone who has those big dreams. Like say, oh, I want to be a movie star. Well, in the circumstance I'm in right now, it's not likely. But if I really wanted to, I could drop everything and go to the school to do whatever I need to do, to learn what I need to do. I need to put myself in those situations. I need to be I need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think that's a large part of that a lot of people struggle with, the uncomfortable part.
I agree.
Because nothing is ever going to be fully comfortable where you're like, oh, I like this. Okay, I'm going to keep doing this. No, there's going to be ups and downs, especially with like making a business as well.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
99% of all businesses fail, dog.
And I think that's often because they stop trying when they need to actually push past that. When you down in sales, you need to push past that, make it to the next month.
Sometimes you need to take a step back and learn, why did it not work, or why did it fail? Why did you fail? And then, you know, not to fully give up on what you may want to do, but you may need to take what you learned from that failure and just pivot. Like, okay, if I still want to be this actor, or I still want to be in this business role, let me take the stuff that I learned that didn't work and try to reapply it with the knowledge that I know now, or try to get advice from people that also have failed things. I mean, again, most people didn't just be off rip successful. Like, there's a lot of people that went through different walks of paths of life to get to the point where they're at. And it may look all glamorous and nice on the internet, but you don't know what that person may be dealing with behind closed doors. They might not even really be happy.
And real quick, it's a statement that like a lot of adults and parents kind of tell their kids is like, oh, you have time to not know what you want to do with your life. But at the same time, looking back, I think that people should at least, if not have a full scheme of what they want to do, at least have a direction they want to go in. Because you don't have to make it all in one day. You don't have to make it all in this straight path, but at least have an idea of the direction you want to go. Because that's the thing that messes a lot of people up, because they spend a lot of time dicking around.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can have fun partying, I can have fun doing this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, you should have some sort of foresight on, okay, I know at some point in life I want to be successful in this aspect. What should I do, or what are the steps I need to take to try to at least move in that direction?
And I think even a step before that is understanding the environment and your surroundings that you have. Because yes, you can because it's like, yeah, there's a part of it where it's just like you kind of want to figure out what direction you want your life to go in, but also needing to know if you are even in a space to where you have the ability to figure that out. A lot of the times I feel like there's also people, like, just in the same way where there's not enough time in the world, there's also maybe not enough resources or information. Because I feel like there are a lot of people who do have like different goals and aspirations, and it's just like, yeah, I have a generic idea of what I want to do, but the main issue that a lot of people have that I think goes under the radar is just, where's my starting point? What are the resources, or what are the advantages that I have now to help me get started on that path? Or what can I do right now in the environment that I've been raised in my community? What does my community have to offer me to where I can either get to the starting line or start walking down from the starting line along this path? Because yeah, people can say, oh, I want to be a rapper. Oh, I want to be a movie star, or things of that nature. But a lot of times people don't even understand, like, oh, does my area offer local acting classes? Does my area offer a place to go record music? Do I know people that know how to do the engineering aspect of it? Do I know people that know how to do the production aspect of music recording? Do I know people that know voice actors or acting coaches or things of that nature? I feel like a lot of the times, especially like in urban communities, we have all these dreams and aspirations, but there's a lot of things in the world actively going against us to where we don't even know what resources that we have available to us to even get started in that path.
But with that being said, regardless of the resources that you have or don't have, at the end of the day, you need to start. Because you have to start it somewhere. Whether it's at the very bottom, say I want to record and I want to be an artist. I don't got the money to go to a studio or anything. I got a phone though. I can sit there and rap on my phone, because at the end of the day, you still got to put in those 10,000 hours to become that professional that you want to be. So even if you don't have the resources for it, that's not saying you never will, but you have to start at some point. And a lot of people get stuck in the cycle of, not starting and trying to figure out everything they need to do so they can start. When at the end of the day, you should just start. You may be shitty at first. It may not be how you want it to, but that's a work in progress. You want to be able to somehow make it to that point to where you get there, but you can never get there if you never start. And a lot of people spend years and months and a long time waiting to be like, damn, 5 years went by and I ain't made no progress on what I wanted to do.
Hey, Bryson said it best, bro. You gonna look up, you gonna be like, damn, 5 years done went by. You gotta just do it, man. Yeah. But nah, y'all definitely as a unit brought up a lot of valid points. It's crazy because Tim brought up something that you said a couple episodes back that I was gonna bring up is one, you have to have some sort of delusion to be successful. And then my other thing with the reality and just like knowing your surroundings, one of the greatest Marvel villains said it best. Reality is often disappointing. So I say that to say it is important that you can have dreams and aspirations, but you definitely do need to not even say start small, but to their point, just have a starting point. Ask your resources, and then make sure your goals are actually obtainable, because that's also a part of equivalent exchange, right? I'm 29 years old. I'm not going to the league, right? But if I wanted to, okay, I need to start. I need to know that I'm going to have to give up a lot of time, a lot of resources, have to give up a lot of fast food and all this stuff. And then it's like, okay, that's where I can start at. Then it's like, okay, I can start with running. And then we can work to weightlifting. Then we can go to field work. Then we can actually try to find a team. Then we can get film. Send film to say at school. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. You know, brick by brick. You know? Even then, there's going to be some bumps along the road. And I feel like we have somehow divulged from the main topic. But this is still a good topic to be talking about. So, yeah. That's,
I mean, yeah, because I mean, just like... I don't know, because like when I try to think back on the law of equivalent exchange, yes, you're always going to have to sacrifice something in order to gain something, but I feel like there's just no like to me, I just don't feel like there's a standard set definition of what that exchange looks like, because again, like everybody has different circumstances, everybody has different reasons for wanting to do things, and again, the cost of sacrifice is not going to be the same across the board. That's why I initially said that this all comes down to the individual and what they're willing to give up. Because again, the same we could have two different people could have the same goal, but their path to get to that same goal is solely different. Yeah. One person might have to give up $100, another person might have to give up $100K. That's just the reality. That's just the reality of it. That's what I'm like. There's no set definition of it. But I think people do understand the concept of it, of just like, oh, if I want to get this, then I know that I have to give this up. I think everybody is accustomed to that idea, but I think it just comes down to when it's time to give that something up, who's willing to push and who's not going to, and that's where it comes down to Adam saying who's willing to try and who's not. Yeah. You know?
I like something that Adam has said earlier too about the individual being comfortable and like learning to be uncomfortable in those situations, because there's time. Well, let me ask y'all, like, what is a moment either you had to sacrifice something to gain something, or there's something that you know you need to sacrifice, but you're kind of like, you haven't taken that step yet. Like, for example, like with me, like my mom, I talked to my mom about this. She was telling me like, she thinks I'm the type that likes my freedom. She was like, I don't think you won't want to sacrifice your freedom to have to dedicate it to like a professional full-time type of job. I'm not saying I don't want it full-time, but just like, this is what you're going to be doing. Like, you know, because you like your freedom so much of being able to just work and still move and do the things that you like to do without it feeling like it's overtaking things. She was saying that's going to be my hardest challenge to try to overcome. So what is something that either you have sacrificed to gain something in the long run that's benefited you, or what is something that you know you need to sacrifice to gain something that you want, but you haven't made that step yet, or it's kind of challenging for you to make that step?
Honestly, for me, just the concept of just being lazy. I know that I could probably be a lot farther in my life, but a lot of it is just because I wasn't willing to give up the comfortableness or being content in being where I have been. Mm-hmm. So I think that's been like my biggest challenge in terms of like wanting to give something up. It's just like I need to just learn how to like be more proactive and just kind of be like, stop being just a lazy son of a bitch, for lack of better terms. But it's just like, if I was just more proactive in just doing certain things, I could be like, be much further progressed than to where I am currently right now. So I think that would be me.
If you don't mind me asking, what are the things that you would like to accomplish?
I think realistically, just when I use this concept, I mean in terms of like me and like my weight, my health journey, and just like me with like losing weight. I definitely feel like I could be a lot further accomplished than what I am currently. But again, I'm just too content in being lazy, or just like, oh, I don't really feel like doing it, or oh, I done had a long day at work, I just want to sit.
Yeah.
I just want to play the game. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Motivated.
Yeah, like just the lack of motivation of just wanting to be like, come on, like you, even though like you don't see the initial results now. That's the thing I've always felt with, is that I've felt like I've needed to see immediate return on investment, and the fact that I don't, my brain goes into, well, if you're not seeing the return on the investment, then why are you even doing this in the first place?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That.
So that's going to be something that I'm going to be looking at change as we progress through the rest of 2026, which is crazy because we're almost in August now.
No, everything you said is real. I'm learning that now, like in terms of like some things we want like this, and it doesn't necessarily be goals, but just some change, whether it's health or whatever. I'm learning like sometimes, like I'm always such a go person. This is the most I've probably slowed down in a while. It's made me like look at things a little bit different, to the point where I'm like, at first initially my brain's like, oh, I'm gonna just bounce back. I'm cool. I'm just get back to it, you know. And then like, as I'm my body's like, nah, you're not doing that. Like you gonna actually chill.
Yeah.
And like, the sooner you can accept, like, you know what, you may not be at this point until a fall or like a winter, depending on, and that still comes with consistency. Like, are you still actively doing the things to get to that point? Because like you said, if not, then you just get comfortable with where you at and you just accept where you at. And I think that's a big challenge in a lot of people's lives and factors and other things, you know, whether it's ways, whether it's health, whether it's money, saving. You know what I'm saying? If somebody got bad spending habits, they can't save because they always out the quick to spend it, versus like if they put 100 up every week, they probably would have been up a couple 100 to 1,000 by like the next season.
Yep.
So I feel that. What about y'all two?
I was gonna say, well, for me, it's two things really that I actually have started on. One is going back to school, because when I turned 30 and a little bit before, I kind of felt myself in a stagnant place, especially once I stopped doing my law enforcement job, because I felt that was like one of the paths I could have taken. But I also, knowing myself, was like, this is not a field that I actually see a future in, where I'm enjoying myself and like not actually dreading going to work. Right. It was easy, but it wasn't something I knew I wanted to do in my life. So I decided to go back to school, which I'm currently in. And then the second one is the decision I also made to go into the National Guard. Hopefully I passed all the things necessary for me to get to that point, but I pulled the trigger of wanting to take that next step, because at the end of the day, the benefits that can provide for me and my family subsedes me wanting to just sit around the house and just keep working this job with no real ceiling. Yeah, it pays well, but it's like there's no advancement really. There's nothing that like carries me to that next level in life that I want to be. Because personally, I'm tired of living check to check. I want to be able to get a check and not even think about it. I want to get my check to come in and just be like, oh, I got paid today, and keep it pushing out. Okay, well, I got to divvy this money to this. I got to do this. Got to do this. Got to do this. I want to get to a point to where I'm actually the true definition of comfortable. Bills on auto pay. I don't got to worry about nothing getting paid. I don't got to worry about none of that. I want to be able to get to a place where I actually get to enjoy life for what life is, as opposed to always running this rat race on the wheel of got to make sure this pay, got to make sure this pay, got to make sure this pay. And I think that's a good step for me moving forward, to get that degree, because that can advance me in a career. And then that military thing can help with the benefits. It can add more experience. And again, not to mention, that looks good on the resume. A bunch of things. So that's where I kind of am with that.
Has your viewpoint on sacrifice changed since now that you're a father and have a family to raise?
Not necessarily, because I always kind of had that mindset just because of how I was brought up and the sacrifices that I had to make just from being 18 and not having my mom always there in the most supportive role, not having that supportive role from my parents. So it's like I always kind of knew that there always is a give and take somewhere. So yeah, that's just how I always really thought about things. Obviously, of course, you know, it kind of tightened up and got more intense as I got married and had a child. And I do want more children in the future. So it's like, okay, so these steps that I'm taking now, it's like not only for myself, but it's going to set my family up as well. So, yeah.
Sweet.
Several examples have thought past my mind. You know, just going through Kappa stuff. Just literally, I was gone for an entire semester. Had to give up the radio show damn near for a minute.
Yeah.
But the benefits have been far worth it, exceeded. I've had a amazing network of brothers. I've gotten jobs off of Kappa stuff. So that is something that, again, investing off return, even something a little lighter just with hobbies. When we first started skating, we was like, dang, jumping look cool. We gonna figure that out. And we had to figure out real quick, we got to pay them wood taxes. So we was literally putting our bodies on the line, busting our ass on the floor. But it was like, we want to be good at this. Now, we doing it without even thinking it. And it took, I want to say, at least for me, it probably took me like a good 8 months of consistency to get my first 540. And then after that, I didn't have it for like 2 more months. But I got back up to it, and now it's without thinking. You feel me?
A 540 is you do a jump spin, and it's a 540-degree turn.
Bang. So, yeah. But, like, just again, with that, to get to that point, I literally had to sacrifice my body. And honestly, a little bit of my pride, because wasn't nobody trying to fall in front of all these people all the time. But I mean, after a while, I was just like, skip it, bro. I see people are doing the same thing I'm trying to do. I've surpassed people. People that we have thought skating have surpassed me, and that's okay. We all on our own journey. And I'm saying this not only to y'all, but to myself, because I've been going through a lot of things in my own personal life. But at the end of the day gon' end. So, you know, we got to keep it moving.
I was going to say one thing that my wife often says, like when she wants to do something or a goal that she has, she says she always thinks of her future self. And I'm like, that's a thing that a lot of more people need to adapt. Think of the future self and not yourself in the moment when you want to accomplish a goal, because that person in the future is not who you are today. So you got to do the steps to get to that person. So like, say for example, like I said earlier with starting, you want to get on that health journey? Start somewhere. At the end of the day, you want to start something, you want to get on anything, you just have to start. That's all I have to say on that.
I like that, actually. I never think about your future self and where that person is at that time versus where you're at now. And that's my problem. I'm always thinking about the now in like the very near future. I'm not thinking about what myself will look like in this 2030 or 2035, you know what I mean? And like that kind of stuff. So I think that's a good way to view things, actually. I think that's a good mindset to have. Because
I used to make fun of her for that shit. I definitely, I'm like, let's talk about your future self. And I was like, nah, that's actually real, because
your future you could look back and be like, I was at this point, but I'm not there anymore.
The person I want to be in 5 years, okay, how do I get to that point?
And that 5 years is coming regardless.
Right.
So,
and I think another thing I wanted to add before we wrap is like just time in general, because I know a lot of people feel like most of us is 30. He's 29, turning 30 this year. But there's this concept, people feel like age plays a factor. So some people feel like I got to be this or this by this age, and sometimes it doesn't happen that way. Now, it could be on your own decisions. It could be based on how you chose to move life. Or maybe there was something that happened in your life that you had no plan that was going to happen, and things happen unexpectedly, right? And I wanted to get y'all thoughts on, like, just in general, just the ageism side of it. Because, you know, I see people that's way older than us. We think we older than 30, but, like, there's people in there 50. Bro, I just met a 71-year-old I went to the A$AP Rocky concert like 2 weeks ago. He was like one of the attendants, but like, bro, he did not look 71. Just this tall white man, just chilling, just good vibes.
my kids put me on, man.
He's talking to me about doing the Beyonce show, the Dawn show. Like, he was telling me about a lot of artists he's done, like, you know, helped out with the concert. But anywho, like, just seeing how he's just moving, and I don't think that's like his full-time thing or not. If it is, he just look like he's just living like, because you know some people when they retire, I don't know if he is retired, but they still like to do stuff because they don't want to just be in the crib all day just bullshitting. They still want to feel like they're out doing things. So, or for another example, I love what Kai did with I think it's I Just Puzzles.
I love puzzles.
Shout out to her, by the way, because she is prime proof, living proof that like you can still do what you want to do and be successful in it, no matter how old you are. She's only
she's 56.
She's 56.
So for to give context, in Kai Sanat Streamers University, there is a 56-year-old streamer by the name of I Just Love Puzzles, aka Gma. She was invited to Streamer University as the librarian, and she literally spent the entire weekend in the library doing puzzles. A bunch of different streamers, Kai himself came through, Duke Dennis came through, and a few other people came through just to hang out with her, just to talk to her about just like what got her into streaming, how long she had been streaming. And I think she said she had been streaming for at least 4 or 5 years now to this point. It might be shorter, but forgive me if I'm misquoting right now. And during the process, she was also given Kai Sanat surprised her with another streamer by the name of, I forget his name, but they surprised her with $30,000 funding towards because she wanted to create her own puzzle brand, a brand of puzzles, and open her own puzzle related shop. And again, this is her at 56, 57 years old, older black woman, could be literally anybody's grandmother. Even T-Pain gave her some love because he said he watches her on the regular, just like a good just something to watch when you. It's literally just her putting together jigsaw puzzles and just chatting.
Just talking.
It's nothing more than that, but it's very wholesome and it's very
I like that.
It's very relatable. But no, it does go back to TJ's kind of point in the sense of I think sometimes we tend to constrict ourselves by trying to get certain things done by a certain age bracket or certain age group, when in reality I'm sitting here at 30 and I'm just now getting to I'm at a point where it's just like I kind of feel like my life is really just starting, because I'm now at a point I'm at a prime, honestly, the starting point of adulthood. I'm paying my own bills, I'm managing my own self and my own money, and it's just like I understand the concepts of like where my life has been. A lot of it has just been trial and error and set up for now, which is the true starting point of just like, okay, I know what I want to do with my life. I know what kind of career path I want to go down. I know what kind of life I want to set up for me and potentially my future family. Now it's about doing the things that I need to do to start that process. Kind of like how you were saying, I'm at the starting line now, and now the gun's just shot off, and now it's time for me to run this race. So I would say for anybody out there that's kind of having those doubts or questions, everybody's life is different. Everybody's life runs at their own pace. Don't ever feel like you are wasting your time. More so have the mindset of, what can I do to maximize the time that I have right now?
Tomorrow's not promised.
My last thing that I do want to say is
don't compare to somebody else either.
And also, when it comes to the law of equivalent exchange and sacrifice, understand that your sacrifice does not have to be 100. And what I mean by that, for instances, for your friend who feels like he may have to cut family off or sacrifice his family, don't think that you just have to go and just chop it all off. Like, if it means that you have to be separated from your family from time to time, let's figure out ways to mitigate that. Maybe, okay, if you need to do a certain goal that's going to keep you away from your family, then maybe how about once a week, just call people, whether it's a text, a phone call, or even a FaceTime. Just reach out to be like, hey, how you doing? I know I won't be able to see you as much as I used to, but hey, this is just still me reaching out, just checking in. So don't think that your sacrifice has to be 100%. Know your goal and know your means, and realize that sacrifice is by how much you're willing to give up. And that doesn't mean you have to give up 100% of everything. You can start in small waves, start with the 25% or the 50%, and just gauge that meter based on how you think you need to do. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Y'all got any thoughts?
You asked the question. What was your question again?
I was asking in terms of like the ageism side of it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, in terms of sacrifice, because people get caught up on like, oh, by this age this has to happen, and this age this has to happen, and I haven't made said sacrifices for that goal to happen by 35 or 45.
I think a lot of people take too much time and sit too much in what they could have done instead of taking those steps to what you can do.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you can't go back.
No.
You can't go back to yesterday or anything. You just have to move forward. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a concept that a lot of people have to like bake into their mind. I think it settles in the older you get, which is why a lot of people have that thought process. But at an earlier age, if you can just focus on, okay, at the end of the day, I have to move forward, I think that's a good mindset to build for your future.
Okay. Malik?
I don't know how I'm supposed to follow up behind all of that.
Dropping heat.
I know, right? I don't have no bars, but I mean, I feel like everybody has pretty much covered everything. And I think I would start by saying I remember when I was a kid and be like, damn, 30 is old. And then, like, when I was graduating college, I said to myself, oh, I'll be at this point by 30. And I'm nowhere near that point. And that's okay, because the person I was at 23 is not the person I am at almost age 30. So I think it's speaking for my personal self, I have to be okay with that reality didn't pan out the way that I wanted it to. Because I was be like, oh, I should have been here, and this. But I've still knocked off a lot of goals in my life. Mm-hmm. But the L's always hold more weight than the loss or than the wins. But I think equivalent exchange will make everything equal. They should hold the same amount of weight. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say as far as the ages. 30 is not old. I actually see
It's really not.
Yeah, I actually see something this year where it was saying 29 is usually the typical start over age for a lot of people anyway. So,
entering our prime.
Just click.
Yeah.
Just shift gears, you know.
I got grades and shit now, so I'm like,
Yeah.
it's about that time.
Well, I think that was a lovely discussion. What you think?
I would like to think.
Does that hopefully answer your friend's question?
I hope so, because that's all I got for it. So
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, even if y'all didn't ask for the question, we hope that y'all gained something from this conversation, and let us hear y'all thoughts. The conversation continues with you, but please,
yes, it does.
Hit that like button,
turn
subscribe,
turn the notification bell on.
Get us to 500 subs. Other than that, Jacob.
Protect your peace. Y'all be safe.
Yes, sir.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Episode of the Four Brothers Podcast, and we are out.